Hey, if you're here again tonight, welcome back. And if you're new, you picked a heavy night to walk in. But honestly, maybe that's exactly why you're here. You're listening to Midnight Clarity, bite-sized therapy for when your brain absolutely refuses to shut up. I'm Amaris, a licensed professional counselor in Texas. And tonight, we're talking about something most people avoid until it's 2 a.m. and their chest feels tight and their stomach won't settle. Self-forgiveness. The kind you don't talk about. The kind you flinch at. The kind that keeps resurfacing every time you think you've moved on. Let me ask you something that might hit a little too close. Has there ever been a version of you from years ago, or months ago, or last week that still makes you wince when you think about them? Like a ghost that haunts you in your most vulnerable moments. A mistake you made, a choice you regret, a moment you can't take back, a person you hurt, a part of yourself you abandoned, a version of you that didn't know better, but you still hold them to the standard of who you are now. Yeah, that's where we're going tonight. Not the surface level, Instagram post kind of forgiveness. The real, uncomfortable human kind. The one that feels like swallowing a memory you've been choking on for way too long. So, take a breath, get comfortable, and let's walk into the part of ourselves we keep trying to outrun. Let's talk about something your brain does without your permission. It drags old versions of you into the present and judges them by today's standards. You look back at something you did years ago and think, why was I like that? Why didn't I know better? Why didn't I handle it differently? What's wrong with me? But here's the truth your guilt never considers. The version of you who made that choice didn't have the information you have now. They didn't have the self-awareness you've earned, the tools you've built, the boundaries you've learned. They didn't have the stability, wisdom, regulation, or clarity you have today. You're punishing an old you for not being the future you. That's not accountability. That's cruelty dressed as self-reflection. Because if you zoom out, you'll see something important. You weren't being careless, stupid, reckless. You were being human, making choices with the emotional resources you had at the time. Maybe you were scared, lonely, traumatized, trying to survive something nobody else knew about. Doing the best you could with the nervous system on fire. And the worst part, you've changed, healed, grown. You're here, listening to a podcast about self-forgiveness at night, which tells me everything I need to know about the kind of person you are now. And here's something I want you to keep in mind. Every single person on this earth is capable of making a decision, a choice that is capable of hurting either themselves or someone else. If I were walking down a crowded hall and tripped on shoelaces I didn't tie earlier, I hurt myself. No harm, no foul. But if I had decided to reach out and grab someone and drag them with me, my decisions have now impacted someone else. My intention may not have been to cause harm or pain. My decision may or may not have been impulsive. But nonetheless, I caused pain to someone else. But that is part of being human. To be human is to make mistakes and choices. All humans are capable of great good and great evil. And we are all capable of learning and growing. So why are you still treating your past self like they're the villain of your story, instead of a chapter you outgrew? We're going to sit with that for a minute, because that's where the shift begins. Here's the part people don't talk about, the part that actually makes self-forgiveness so damn hard. You're not just remembering what you did, you're remembering who you were. And sometimes that version of you feels like a stranger you still have to answer for. Your brain goes, I can't believe I acted like that. I can't believe I let that happen. I can't believe I didn't know better. But let me tell you a secret your guilt doesn't want you to realize. You survived something that version of you didn't know how to survive. That old you was doing emotional labor with half the tools you have now. You're reacting with a nervous system shaped by whatever chaos came before them. They were trying to navigate life with a map they had, and sometimes the map was missing half the landmarks. But you're holding them to the standard of a person they hadn't become yet. You're punishing them for not having wisdom they hadn't lived long enough to earn. And here's the part that might sting a little. You only judge your past self this harshly because you've grown so much that you don't relate to them anymore. That's not guilt. That's evidence of evolution. So when your mind says, you should have known better, try answering it with, how could I? I hadn't to live through this yet. Because if future you looked back at present you today, they'd probably say the same thing. And that's not shameful, that's human. And we're going to talk about how to finally let that old version of you rest, instead of dragging them into every moment of your life like a ghost you're still responsible for. Let's get honest for a second. Brutally, gently honest. If you've been struggling to forgive yourself, it's not because the mistake was unforgivable. It's because you think holding onto the guilt keeps you good. Some part of you believes that if you let the guilt go, it means you don't care about what happened. Like releasing the shame somehow erases the lesson. But guilt isn't proof of goodness. Growth is. And you've already grown. Another reason might be you're scared other people haven't forgiven you. Even if they have, your brain is terrified that someone out there still sees you as the worst version of yourselves. So you punish yourself first, as if staying ashamed somehow balances the scales. But other people's forgiveness isn't your prison sentence. Your healing doesn't require their permission. You're confusing accountability with self-punishment. Being accountable means I understand what happened. I understand why. I'll do better. Punishment is I don't deserve peace because of it. Guess which one actually creates change? Hint, it's the one that doesn't involve emotionally beating the shit out of yourself. You're holding yourself to an inhuman standard. You expect your past self to have the emotional intelligence, insight, stability, and healing of your present self. And that's not fair to anyone, especially not to the younger version of you who was probably drowning. I get it. You're scared that forgiving yourself means that you're letting yourself off the hook. You're afraid self-forgiveness means you're minimizing what happened. But forgiveness isn't erasure. It's release. It's saying, I acknowledge what happened, I accept what I've learned, and I refuse to keep carrying the pain like it's still happening. And a lot of the times when we're holding on to this, it's also because we don't yet trust ourselves. And this is honestly the deepest part. You're not scared of what you did. You're scared of what you could do again. You're scared that forgiving yourself means risking future harm because you're not that person anymore. And the fact that you're even thinking this deeply about it proves that. Forgiveness doesn't require trusting your past self. It requires trusting who you are now. When we've been living in this mindset for so long, at some point, we stop knowing who we are without the guilt. Some wounds become part of your identity. You've held on to the shame for so long that letting go feels like losing a piece of yourself. As if the guilt kept you grounded. as if the pain kept you in line. But guilt is not a personality trait, and shame is not a moral compass. You don't need suffering to keep you good. Self-forgiveness is recognizing that the version of you who's listening right now is not the version who made that choice. There were different circumstances, different awareness, different heart, different life. You're allowed to let the old you rest. You're allowed to stop punishing someone who hasn't existed in years. I want you to picture your mind like a long hallway with a bunch of doors. Most of the doors you walk past easily. Memories, moments, things you've made peace with. But there's one door you avoid. You don't touch it, don't look at it, don't open it. You just keep walking past it as quickly as you can, because you know what's behind it. A version of you you're embarrassed by. A moment you wish you could undo. A choice you've replayed 1,000 times. A memory you only visit when you're already hurting. And every time you pass that door, your stomach tightens just a little. Not because the past is dangerous, but because the shame is loud. Now here's the part you probably never considered. The you in that room is frozen in time. They're not growing. They're not learning. They're not moving forward. They're stuck in that exact moment you abandoned them. And every time you refuse to forgive yourself, you keep them locked in there. Not punished, just alone. But you open the door gently. You'll notice something surprising. They're not a monster. They're not some unforgivable villain. They're not this awful version of you your guilt keeps painting. They're just you, a younger you, tired, scared, under-equipped, crying, confused, human. They're sitting there with the emotional tools they had at the time. And those tools were small because your world was smaller. Self-forgiveness isn't saying nothing happened, or it didn't matter, or I was right. Self-forgiveness is walking into that room, looking at the version of you and saying, I know why you did what you did, and I'm here now to help you out of this. You don't have to like the past. You don't have to agree with it. You don't have to celebrate it. You do have to stop exiling the part of you who lived it. They've been waiting for you to come get them this whole time. Standing in front of that locked room, looking at that younger you sitting inside, the question becomes, now what? How do you take this moment of awareness and actually turn it into something healing? Self-forgiveness isn't a single moment. It's not one deep breath, one affirmation, one, okay, I'm over it. It's a process, it's work, and it's worth it. Think of it like 4 steady mental shifts. Not steps, not rules, just shifts. Shifts that help your body, your mind, and that earlier version of you finally walk out of that room together. Let's talk about it. The first shift. Tell the real story, not the shame story. This section is being honest with yourself. Yes, we have been regretting this moment for years and living in shame, but we need to be raw, open, and real during this first section. I want you to take some time to reflect back on what happened. What really happened? We need to do this. As much as it feels awful and painful, we have to. How can you forgive yourself if you don't stop and reflect on everything you are forgiving yourself for? Painful emotions that you caused in yourself and others, worldviews and behaviors that were changed, ways in which people were impacted and you were impacted, any practical costs that came out of this, time, money, energy. This is about deep reflection, and it's not to further the shame. We've struggled with that enough. It's about acknowledging the past in an honest way. And most people may find that the past has been distorted and is different from what they remember. When you look back at the thing you're struggling to forgive, you probably don't see the truth. You see the shame-edited versions. Shame adds dramatic lighting. It adds sharp edges. It adds lines you never actually said. It adds intentions you never actually had. So the first shift is simple. Tell the truth about what actually happened, not what shame added, not what guilt exaggerated, not the catastrophe version you replay during panic nights. Just the facts. This isn't minimizing, this is clarity. Because when you strip away the distortion, you finally see, oh, I wasn't a monster. I was a human who was overwhelmed. Yes, I made mistakes that impacted others and myself, but I'm going to put in work and effort, make sure it never happens again. And that's where forgiveness begins, with the real story, not the haunted one. The second shift, look at who you were back then. This one's uncomfortable, but healing. You cannot forgive yourself until you understand yourself. Who were you in that moment? What were you dealing with? What did you not yet know? What tools did you not have? What fears were running the show? Who was influencing you? What were you surviving? Every choice has roots. And when you look at the conditions that version of you lived in, you realize, no wonder I acted like that. It doesn't excuse it, but it explains it. And explanation is not the same as justification. It's compassion. This is where you stop judging your past self by the standards of your present self. This is where you finally say, I understand why you did what you did. That alone releases more tension than most people realize. The third shift. Decide what you want to do with the story now. Forgiveness isn't a feeling. It's not a rush of peace or a soft glow or an emotional epiphany. Forgiveness is a decision, a quiet one. A decision to stop holding that version of you hostage. A decision that sounds like, I don't have to keep punishing myself for this. I've carried this long enough, and I'm ready to move forward without dragging this memory like a chain. You don't have to feel ready. You don't have to feel forgiving. You don't have to feel peaceful. The decision comes first. The feeling comes later. And even if your voice is shaking when you make that decision, it still counts. For those of you who are more logical than emotional, I recommend sitting for a moment with a pen and paper in hand. We're going to do a classic pros and cons list. Now remember, this is facts only. Be honest. Is this a fact or opinion? What are the good things that can possibly come from you making this decision to forgive yourself? Now make a list of anything negative that can come from this decision. Not only does this show you where you are in your journey, but it connects back with our first shift theme, self-reflection. Lastly, the fourth shift. Let the past version of you back into the story. This is the part that actually heals you, the part most people skip. It's where you stop locking your past self away in that room and actually walk over, kneel down, and say, hey, come with me. You don't stay here anymore. Not to erase what happened, not to pretend it was okay, not to forget, but to integrate that younger you, the one who didn't know better, the one who made the choice you regret. They're part of your story. They're the reason you grew, the reason you learned. You're wiser now. They're a chapter, not a curse. Self-forgiveness isn't letting them off the hook. It's letting them come home. It's saying, you did the best you could. I'm the one who takes it from here. And then, slowly, you stop revisiting the memory to punish yourself and start revisiting it to understand yourself. And that's when forgiveness stops being this big emotional mountain and starts becoming a soft, steady release, a loosening, a breath, a return, and a chance to grow and make amends, whether it's to a specific person or to yourself, through the choices you will make every day. Before we close tonight, I want you to sit with something real, not comforting, not sugar-coated, just true. You don't have to keep dragging this version of yourself behind you. You don't have to keep paying for the same mistake with your peace. You don't have to keep punishing a past you who didn't have your perspective, your tools, your stability, or your wisdom. And you don't have to be afraid that forgiving yourself means letting yourself off easy. It doesn't. Forgiveness isn't ease, it's responsibility. It's saying, I see what happened, I understand it, I learned from it, and I'm done letting it own me. Self-forgiveness is not permission to repeat the past. It's commitment not to. And you've already shown, just by being here, by listening to something this raw, by sitting in the discomfort instead of avoiding it, that you're not the same person who made that choice. So, tonight, as you settle in, you don't have to pretend that nothing happened, that it didn't hurt, that it didn't leave a mark. You just don't have to keep letting it define you. Let your shoulders drop, let your jaw unclench, let your breath deepen by half an inch. Let the younger you, the one who was locked away, one who made the choice you can't forget, finally step out of that room and rest. Not because they earned forgiveness, but because you're strong enough now to give it. And you deserve the kind of life that isn't built around punishment, but around growth. You're allowed to move forward, to change, to be better without being chained to who you were. So for tonight, let it be enough to say, I'm not running from this anymore, and I'm not beating myself with it either. Turn the shame you've been carrying into the will to do better, be better. Let that be your quiet turning point. Let that be your first breath of release. Let that be the start of something new. You've carried this long enough. It's time to rest. Thanks for spending these quiet minutes with me tonight. This is Midnight Clarity, where your mind gets softer, your thoughts get kinder, and you get to breathe again. Sleep well. Hey, before you go, just a quick reminder. If you're in Texas and looking for a therapist, you can book with me at embarkedhealingtherapy.com. Midnight Clarity is for reflection and education, not therapy or personalized advice. If you're struggling or need support, please reach out to a licensed mental health professional or local emergency services. I hope you found clarity tonight.